Hi, and welcome to the JVC orientation class. I'm John, as you probably know, and we are really excited that you are interested in learning more about Jordan Valley Church. A lot of people are kind of hesitant sometimes to take the membership class because they're not sure whether they want to be a member or not. And if that's you, this class is designed exactly for someone like you, to help you figure out whether or not you want to take that step. We try to take membership seriously here, and so part of that is you knowing what you're signing up for. Now, I realize that membership in the church has a lot of baggage sometimes, particularly here in Utah, and there are many people in our church that were hesitant to become members here because of bad experiences of membership in another church. And we're going to walk through what does membership mean and doesn't mean, why do we have it, why do we think it's biblical, and help you understand what we mean by that term. So what I want you to do is take whatever kind of concepts you have of church membership from the past or from what you've heard of others and set them on the shelf for a little bit so we can explain what we mean in this class, what you would be saying yes to. And the nice thing is there's no expectation that you need to join after this class, that this class is to help you figure out if you want to make that decision or not, and we would be happy to help you figure out what would be best for you. Well, the first thing is I want you to grab that class packet that you either have physically, looks something like this, or the electronic form. And in it, or in the email that had this, there are a couple different things that I want you to notice. So first off, we have the household information sheet. So you can either fill this out on paper or fill it out online. This just gives us some basic information so we can make sure we have all our information updated in our database. We have the vision handout in this welcome brochure right here, which is just a helpful way to kind of summarize what is the vision of our church. And then there's another sheet that talks about the membership process, which can be a little bit intimidating, but we will try to make it as easy for you as possible. And that membership process really begins with you taking this class. And I said this is the first step, not the last step to decide. This is whether or not you decide you want to continue in that process. And so after going through this class, we'll see if you're interested in continuing, and then you will sit down with one or two of the elders in the church. And we will ask you essentially 4 questions. The first is, tell us about how you came to be a Christian. The second is, tell us where Jesus is working in your life right now. Where are you growing in your faith? The third, tell us some ways that you're interested in serving in the church. And then the fourth is seeing if you have any questions on any of the particular membership questions that we will ask you. After that, we'll have you write a short testimony, which is often one of the harder parts for people to do. They don't want to talk about themselves, or they don't feel like they have anything interesting to say. Let me just tell you, every single testimony is encouraging to the people in our church. We read it when you become a member. It lets people get to know you, your story, how God's been at work. And whatever your story, people love to know that, whether or not you think it's exciting or not. I guarantee they will appreciate it. And so in here we have some tips for how to write that. We will also send you a couple examples to give you an idea of what it could look like. And then the last step is actually joining the church, where we will ask you those 5 membership questions in the church service, and you will officially become a member. Well, the outline of this class is actually very simple. So we have a number of videos that we are going to walk through each of the 5 membership questions. So again, you know what you are saying yes to. And one of the key things I want you to keep in mind is that the best way to think about it is, it's particularly here in Utah, people wonder why are there so many different churches, right? And are you guys all fighting for the same people? Do you really believe the same things? Why is there so much division? All kinds of questions swirl around this. And I think a helpful way for us to understand what makes Jordan Valley Church different from other churches, but also similar to other churches, is that we kind of need to triage the various beliefs within Christianity. And so I think it's good to think of it kind of like a bullseye, where we have 3 rings in the circle. And at the center of this target are what we call our die beliefs. These are the beliefs that Christians throughout history have sometimes given their life for, the essentials of Christianity. Things like, is Jesus God? Did he truly die, and was he truly raised again from the dead? Who is God? And these beliefs are beliefs that all Christians throughout history have agreed on. They're often listed in the historic Christian creeds that we sometimes will read at the church, like the Apostles' Creed or Nicene Creed. They are beliefs that you could travel to Kenya or travel to China and find Christians there agree about these things. And if you could even time travel, you could go back to Christians in, say, Greece and see them espousing these same truths that are essential to Christianity. And when you hold this is what makes you a Christian. Now, there are other beliefs, though, that various churches hold. And these I like to call our defend beliefs. These are beliefs that we think Scripture supports, or maybe even are commanded in Scripture, but we recognize that other good Christians disagree about them, and whether or not you hold to these things doesn't make you a Christian. It is these central beliefs. So one of the most common examples here in our church is the fact that we baptize infants. We baptize babies. Now again, we do it for reasons different from, say, in a Catholic church, but we also recognize there are lots of good Christians that don't baptize their babies, but wait until that child makes a public profession of faith. Now we're going to explain a little bit why we do that, and we want people to know why we do that. And so here's what I want you to understand about this, though, that when you say yes to becoming a member of this church, we want to make sure that you agree with these die beliefs, and we want you to know what our defend beliefs are, but you don't have to actually agree with them, but you need to be okay with being in a church that believes these things. So very practically, come next Sunday, let's say we baptize one of these children that have been recently born in our church. And if when you see us baptizing this baby, you turn to your neighbor and say, I can't believe they do that at the church. This is just so unbiblical. If that's your reaction, well, this probably isn't the best fit for you. Go find a church where you don't have to be reminded of your difference of that belief that you hold so strongly, and find a church that aligns with those beliefs. But maybe you're convinced that that's biblical. Well, then this is an easy fit. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe you're not sure you're not sure if you even want to do that with your own kids. Well, that's actually okay to be a member here. We want you to know what we believe, and when you make that decision, if you're going to have kids, we want you to make that decision with good biblical reasons, but we also understand that Christians have had differing views on these things through history. And then the last category of beliefs are things like the discuss beliefs. And these are beliefs that would vary even within our own church and the leadership of our church. Things like, how often should we have the Lord's Supper? What type of music should we play in worship? Should we be contemporary or traditional or a mix? What color should the sanctuary walls be? Stuff like this. And these things we don't even get into them into the class because they're such a low tier of beliefs. One other thing I should mention is these defend beliefs are often articulated in a church's statement of faith. They include the die beliefs, but it goes a little further than those historic Christian creeds to the defend beliefs. And for our church, the statement of faith is in something called the Westminster Confession of Faith, which is a document that was written several hundred years ago in England, and many Presbyterian churches have used that and continue to use that as our statement of faith. And so if you want to understand what all of our defend beliefs are, you can find that document online and read it, and we'd be happy to talk with you more about it. But the key thing to note is you don't necessarily have to agree with all these things, but we want you to know that this is where we're coming from. Well, I think that is everything for the intro, and we will see you in the next video when we jump into vows.